So the live.
So can we start?
No, we will announce you, okay? We'll have
All
some
right.
induction and everything.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Lenuka.
Okay, welcome everyone today for the GSFN Global South Summit for Zambia. And it is today, the second day, second session. So welcome everyone. I'm Dr. Renuka Thakur, the founder of Global Sustainable Futures Network. And I'm very delighted that you have taken time to join this. So this is a second day, as I mentioned. Just before going further, I would like to tell some house rule. Please take the mic when you want to take the floor, but before that, please raise your hand through this hand gesture here at Zoom, and so that we know that you wish to speak. Also, you can use the chat function to introduce yourself and share or contact details as well as any project details if you wish to, any comments as well. We'll pick up from there also those questions or anything which you have shared. And ideally, this would work as a, knowledge sharing and networking event. So please feel free to express your opinion, concerns, and opportunities, whichever you think it is relation to the dialogue going on. So welcome again, everyone. I'm very delighted, and I want to speak a little bit of background of why we have this Global South Summit and also regarding today's theme. So Global South Summit is mainly for the capacity building of the total Global South. And here, every month, we try to engage with one of the nation of Global South to do this event. Especially, of course, there is a name related with the country. However, most dialogue and the exchange are for the whole Global South. And initially, 4 events have been already done through this program. We had first event in Pakistan in January. Second, we had in Egypt. Third, we had in Kenya. Fourth, we had in Nigeria. And we had to drop last time because I was in SB60 attending that. And this time it is in Zambia. There is no particular reason for any these countries. However, GSFN works more democratically and also more about first come, first serve. And therefore, whoever shows an interest that they want to lead on it and have this summit for their country, and that is how we go about it. already, let me tell you, in future, we have two summits decided. One is in September, which will be hosted by South Africa. And the last one, the annual conference, will be hosted by Nepal. So we are already working towards that. If anyone has a good connection in that country and want to host, do let me know, and we can facilitate that. So again, until the last four summits, we had very similar themes. However, we had different perspective. So again, it was local perspective that came up with the discussion of the host organizations, and that is how we used to lead. However, this time we have decided to particularly focus on NDCs and Sustainable Development Goals. You know that today we are challenged, the whole world is challenged by two big challenges, which are addressing climate change and achieving sustainable development goals. Climate change has plenty of different impacts at different levels and at different degrees in different areas, and the capacity to address them are also very variety of that. We find variety and diversity in that. And throughout the like from the past literature and past discussion, we have understood that unless we not localize these solutions, we are not going to able to address the climate change at local level. And also, unless we don't do strengthen our local level, we cannot contribute to global level. And that is what ideally this summit wants to have an objective to discuss. So what are the ground level, community level projects? What are the challenges they are facing? What opportunities they can have? And how they can actually connect their activities and their programs and their businesses and even the lifestyle to contribute towards the high level national determined contributions and also to global challenges that I mentioned. So if you, I will put our webpage here. If you visit webpage, we have explained plenty of things regarding the NDCs and SDGs. And especially I have uploaded a document prepared by NDC partnerships who talk about the strategies and practices, policies that needs to be implemented and the pathways they show for how we can decarbonize Zambia country and also contribute to sustainable development goals. Again, with these two relations, we have plenty of other things going on, like we have to achieve gender equality. We have to, when we are transforming ourselves, we need to have just transition. And within that, we will require a lot of finance, and especially the finance also has issues of like how we can pay loss and damage, or how we can evaluate, how we can measure loss and damage and contribute to that, and what role our day-to-day activities like especially agriculture, forestry, and economy, businesses play in that, and also how then we can increase biodiversity to keep our ecology more healthy and contributing to our economy. So there are plenty of things, plenty of complex things, and there are these have plenty of levels. And especially here we are looking at individual and organizational levels to contribute towards how policies and practices should be to incorporate these challenges and the problems that we have in local level. So I will stop here. I have given few context, just a context of what we will be doing here. Today we have one important announcement, and of course, all of you who are going to speak, they are definitely important and significant to this contribution. However, I would like to mention one, Donna Green, who has very kindly going to share a film with us, and she will tell more when we announce or when we welcome her for the film. So having said that, I have seen that we have got today's, actually I saw today's chair coming in, but I think we have lost her because of the internet or maybe. But I definitely saw her. Okay, I think she is trying to reach us. So let me admit her and welcome her. So can I see Camila? Camila, can you hear us? Camila?
Hi there. Hi, everyone. My apologies. My network dropped me off the call.
No worries. I will close my video, so maybe it will be helpful. But please, if you are welcome to say some welcome notes as you are chairing the session today. And just few things for you, like you can look at the presentation. I am here, I will be helping that and for the presentation, but also we have a film today which Donna would like to present here. So first we will have one or two this presentation, because I know Kimi is looking forward to present her work through her colleague who has joined us from Uganda. So this is what we have already discussed and mentioned here. So please carry on. Welcome, Camila.
I'm sorry, could you kindly repeat that?
Can you give some welcome note? It is for Camila. Who was asking that? Here you are.
Yeah. Maybe let me switch off my video for now.
Okay. Camila, you are on mute.
Yes, I didn't hear the. So I was thinking perhaps my network bandwidth.
Okay, I think you will not be able to speak. That is what you are saying?
I did want to come on, but then I didn't hear what you had asked me to do.
No, just to tell a welcome note for this session, and then we can move forward.
Oh, all right. Okay. All right, so hi everybody. You are very much welcome. I don't know if I could do more justice to this session than Dr. Renuka already has. Now we all understand why this particular summit is important and why it is important for us to start taking local action. It's important for us to start taking local action because, as we have noted, we are really far behind on our goals and the impact that our daily lives have on the climate and the change that is taking place all around us in the world requires action that is right now. And we definitely need to start having the conversations that are going to connect the big talks that we are having, the big talks that we're having around the world around climate action and what is actually taking place on the ground. And that's why we know that this summit is very important. And right now, the focus is on Zambia. So thank you to Dr. Renuka and GSFN for the work that they're doing. This particular session is talking about the importance and the increased gender equity and inclusiveness for women and men in community forest management. Now, we know that forests are very important to climate and to sustainability. However, we do have a deforestation crisis, especially when there is very little education on the importance of trees and the part that they have to play in climate management. So given this talk, so given this scenario, it is very important to include both men and women in these talks and understanding, because they are simply a part of the community. Both men and women play critical roles, especially where climate change is involved and where forest management is involved. Because as we can understand, majority of forests happen to be in rural areas where education does not penetrate as well as in the urban areas. And when we look at it this way, we have to understand that the people in the rural areas are the custodians of our forests. And therefore, it would be important for all members of those communities, those custodial communities, to be a part of that conversation. And so, increase gender equity for includes gender equity and inclusiveness in community forest management. So you're very much welcome to the session, and I will give the honor to Dr. Renuka to introduce our next speaker. Please, while as you're keeping in mind our very few housekeeping rules, and that is please take note that this session is live on YouTube. So this is a recorded session, and we ask that you would mute your mic unless you have the floor. And whenever you need to speak, just kindly raise your hand using the reaction icon. Once you press on that, you're going to have the option to raise your hand and you will be called upon to speak. So photos may be taken at any time during the session, so please do feel free to take a photo. And we ask that you would introduce yourself. Use the chat function. Introduce yourself, write your name, your country, your contact details. Feel free to add your project activities and studies, and even a link to your LinkedIn profile, as this is a great networking opportunity. Remember that feedback will be shared at the end of the summit. And this feedback form is crucial for us to understand your experience and improve on our work for future summits. So please, whether you are, no matter how you're attending, please do fill out the feedback form that you will be given, regardless of whether you're a speaker or whether you're just a contributor to the summit, and you will get a certificate of attendance or a certificate that showed that you were speaking at this summit, which will be a testament to your valuable contribution to the summit. Just remember the chair, that's going to be, myself and Ms. Makwembo for this session. Are the chairs, us, we will be able to intervene during the conversation if should the conversation veer off track and off topic other than our topic for today and its objective. So please feel free to add anything you wish, feel free to add anything that you wish during the conversation, and we hope that you have a lovely time here. And for now, I will hand the floor back over to Dr. Renuka for her to introduce the next speakers of the session. So thank you very much for attending, and we look forward to partying with you in this summit. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Camilla. You asked everyone to introduce themselves, but I completely forgot to introduce you. So I will take this moment to talk about you, please. So Camilla is definitely a dynamic powerhouse in Zambia and in her own role. She has a decade of experience in communication field, and her work in youth development as a speaker and a coach, I think you have already experienced that, has earned her international fellowship and leadership opportunities and showcased her dedication in making the difference. Camilla's passion for entrepreneurship, leadership, and personal growth is infectious, and she firmly believes that there is an unlimited potential of individuals to strive and bring out the best in everyone. And she is committed to helping leaders exploit the beautiful possibilities and opportunities around them, which are unwavering. And she's also a mental health and good governance advocate, and her passion for artistic expression through music is palpable. So I think I missed that opportunity to speak about Camilla before, so I have taken this now. And I would like to also introduce our second speaker, chair of this session, who is Ruth, and she is also a global leader, ambassador, and she is a leading figure in Elroy London University. She is dedicated to empower young women through transpersonal philosophy, and she's a founder of Movement Nurturing Young Minds and an honorary consul, and she fosters personal growth and self-discovery. Ruth also extends her impact through philanthropy work in Africa by providing the communities with education and mental health support. Her leadership and benevolence inspire positive change, creating a more equitable and compensable world and impacting one life at a time. So I welcome Ruth, and I also welcome Ruth to give some welcome notes. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much, Dr. Renuka. And that's absolutely amazing. And thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. Yeah, so I mean, what more can I add to what Camilla already said? But I'm just so grateful for what you're doing. And I was at a conference 2 months ago, and they were talking about, it was a sustainability conference. And what struck me about the conference was they were talking about, while we have all these big talks about solving the challenges that we have with the global climate and all these things centered around this, is we have to look at the localization. Yeah, and an example that they gave was, you know, just as simple as if someone is organizing a birthday party, rather than invite someone from another town, why not look locally? Who are the people that provide the services that you're looking for? And that's one way as people, we get involved as men and women, you know, we get involved in actually achieving that agenda. The bigger picture is, right, let me hire someone who's local so they don't have to travel far to come and provide the services. So when I heard with what you're doing, Dr. Renuka, about localization, yeah, it's you taking that step further in, right, let's make this happen. And yes, GSFN, what you're doing is absolutely amazing, you know, bringing all these things to the people, and let's talk about it. How can we change this? How can we change that? Yeah, so there's nothing much I can say. Camilla has pretty much covered everything, the housekeeping rules. We are recording, you know, mute your mics, raise your hand, share your information in the comments, as it is a networking event. Yeah, so I really look forward to sharing and listening to everybody else, what they have to share. Thank you so much. Over to you, Dr. Renuka.
Thank you, thank you. Now I would there is a bit of change in the program. I would like to ask, I know Donna is here to invite the filmmaker, and so probably I will give some time to Donna So she can introduce herself, and then to Stephen, who has kindly given this opportunity to show the film. And Donna, how long is the film? Please tell me.
Yes, hello. The film itself is actually 90 minutes long,
Okay.
but I wasn't sure about the timing, so I just definitely want to make sure that I give Stephen an opportunity to jump on here and discuss the film. If you need to move the film further down the road, that's fine. But I just definitely want to give a few minutes for Stephen to at least introduce the film and say hello. And then I'm not sure if the film is going to be shown now or if you're waiting some time.
Exactly. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that clarity. Yes, we would like Stephen, because he's here now, we would definitely like to hear from him. And then Kimi has already arranged for the presentation, so we'll have her presentation, then we can move forward. If we don't have any other presentation, then we can move forward to the film. Okay? So
Okay.
thank you. And Donna, please help yourself in introducing like what you do. And because I have been talking in previous sessions and also this morning I mentioned you. So please talk about your program as well. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Sounds great. So my name's Donna Guerin. I'm the founder of Global Lighthouse Studios. We connect teachers and students around the world, but through the lens of music and the arts. And I am really excited today to be here to be able to premiere the film called Generation Growth, which is a film that tells the story of the Green Bronx Machine and Stephen Ritz, who we will meet in just a few minutes. And we are working very closely with not only Green Bronx Machine, but also the David Z Foundation. I see that Daniel is here, and also our friend Abalisha, who is has a school called Shining Star International in Abu Dhabi. And we are creating a program called Garden Grooves, where we are trying to raise funds for a program that not only will bring in the work of Stephen Ritz and Green Bronx Machine and all the work that he is doing there to create indoor classroom gardens, but also the work of David Z, which is part of our International Medley Music Program, where we write songs with students around the world. And we're going to write a song about the process of learning more about how to eat healthy and the importance of growing healthy things around you so that you have opportunities for to be able to eat healthy. And so if Daniel is here, just while we're waiting for Stephen to jump on, if you just want to introduce yourself, just so you could tell a little about David Z Foundation, that would be great.
Hello. Sorry, I can't turn on my camera right now, getting my family ready to go out the door. But so the David Z Foundation is, we're a nonprofit and we transform lives through the magic of music. And it's been so wonderful partnering on the International Medley Music Program with Donna and Global Lighthouse Studios. What we do is for about a semester long, 10 to 12 weeks, we write a song, and through project-based learning, we explore a subject together, whether it is academic or social emotional or around sustainability and the SDGs. And then the students really stay in the driver's seat. So meaning that they're writing the song, then they sing the song, they record the song, and then we shoot a professional music video. And I see Stephen is here with the cheese hat, and it's what great timing.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you and greetings from the beautiful South Bronx. So great to see so many wonderfully diverse names in combinations of consonants and vowels I can't even begin to figure out how to pronounce. But and of course, Donna's smiling face. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Good morning. I'm just honored and humbled that you choose to be here with us and to see our film. I'm literally in my classroom, 4 stories up in the middle of the South Bronx and in the poorest congressional district in America. So this is the classroom where it all started. You'll see here. It's our incredible green floor, our incredible garden, our kitchen, all kinds of things. We have so much stuff going on here. It's crazy. Yesterday was the last day of school. In about 15 minutes, this room will be filled with kids getting ready for summer stuff. But you know, I'm just honored and humbled that you're here with us, that you're going to see the film, and that I welcome partnership with all of you. Everything that we do here, believe it or not, is 100% scalable, replicable, low cost, and super efficient. With the one exception of my amazing fish tank and our big white fish, Seymour, who's the most famous fish in the Bronx. Kids come from everywhere to see him. But, you know, our goal here is really to partner with as many of you as possible. I want to thank Donna for making this happen, and any which way we can be of support, please, please, please let us know. I know after the film, you'll be getting a link. Please sign up to be an ambassador. You know, I see people from around the world here, I'm sure. So if anybody wants to jump in and tell me where they're from or say hello, please do so. Would love to find out who and where I'm speaking to.
Very interesting and dramatic and encouraging. So how are you?
I am well. Where are you? Where are you?
I have heard stories about you from Donna, and it is very a great honor to see you today.
Well, thank you.
I'm Dr. Renuka Thakur from UK.
Okay, great. Nice to meet you. My goal is to be on the other side of the pond soon. Anybody else chime in?
Hello, hello. This is Mohammed Saqib from Oxford, the city of literature, culture, and of course, history. And we'd love to hear your story.
Well, it's a remarkable story. Would love to hear yours. Thank you so much for joining me. It's a beautiful backdrop you have. It's kind of, you know, the remarkable thing is I often say that here in the South Bronx, we are the canaries in the coal mine. So this is the greenest place outside of a community that is 45 buildings that look like this outside, just massive skyscrapers, no infrastructure, no stores, no supermarkets. So this is kind of the forgotten place. In many ways, people who have come here say that this community resembles a third world country. I never really realized that until I traveled. But you know, it is about culture. It is about representing. And the truth be told, if I can do it here in the South Bronx, you guys can do it anywhere. And we're determined to do it with you. Anybody else want to say hello? Questions, please let me know. I'm actually gonna, I'm not
So
good
what are you excited about today?
We don't have time for that, but what am I excited about? In a nutshell, I'm excited about the fact that I have children going to some of the best colleges in the country. What am I excited about? I'm excited about that right here in the poorest congressional district in America. We have partnered towards 2,200 living wage jobs, which means families that have been entrenched in poverty for multiple generations are no longer in poverty. What am I excited about? Bringing sexy back. The fact that, you know, I lost 120 pounds eating the very food that I grow here with kids. The fact that I have vegans running around the South Bronx, that I have the next generation of social and environmental justice stewards. The fact that I have the opportunity to not only speak with you, but hopefully make some beautiful music together, to bring children together. You know, I'm going to try and open up the chat room simply to put, you know, better yet, Donna, you can share because you're way better at computers than I am. You can share my email with anybody and everybody. One of the things that I'm really excited about above and beyond this film is we have a brand new TV show, an animated TV show called Let's Learn with Mr. Ritz. I'll send it to Donna and Donna can send it out to all of you after. What I would love to do is, you know, with AI, and I have some friends at Google, is convert all of these to multiple languages. So for any of you who have students who speak multiple languages, different languages, languages none other than English, would love that. We're also in the process of converting our curriculum and everything that we do for children who are visually impaired and hearing impaired. So it'll be the first experience that these kids have ever had. So that I'm super excited about. And we love to collaborate. So I would love to Zoom in, have my students meet your students, a little bit about my community. We are the poorest congressional district in America, but we also are the largest West African community in the world outside of West Africa. Within 8 blocks of my school, we have 16 mosques. We have children from South America, Central America. It's really mixed nuts here. So, you know, the multitude of cultures with kids connecting around the world, to me, is really important. I see myself as above and beyond a teacher and an educator, as a seed spreader and a peace promoter. And what I mean by that is I just want children to connect around the world and spread seeds of goodness, to connect on the internet for something good and something positive instead of the Kardashians and LeBron James. So it's entirely possible to move kids together for amazing things. Donna's done a remarkable job. You know, to think, you know, look, I've been asked to work and teach elsewhere, and here I am. But, you know, I hope my story inspires you. For those you want, you can get my book for free. I think on Audible, it's free. I'm delighted to send anybody anything they want. Know that my classroom, my home, my garden, and my community is open to any and all of you who want to visit. And, you know, I try and get out and see as much of the world as possible. So feel free to invite me. I'd love to learn where you're from, where you represent, and how I can get out and come and visit you. I do have a vigorous travel schedule, and I don't mind doing a connecting flight. Did I leave anything else out?
I would like to just tell you a few things about GSFN, but also about something. Have you heard of UN Political Forum of Sustainable Development Goals going on? Will be soon in New York and at UN headquarters. But also, you know, we do monthly summits, and especially to localize the NDCs, like high-level national determined contributions and global policies at a local level. And this is, I think, your example is a practical laboratory example, living lab, to show people that this is happening, this can be done, and this can be scalable, as you mentioned. And I think people must engage and see and appreciate, and also ask you questions that how they can contextualize in their local area. Thank you.
No, thank you. You know, what's really interesting is that everything here is scalable. I built this entire classroom myself. We go from a box to a garden in 45 minutes if you're a man and 15 minutes if you're a woman, because you'll read the directions and watch the video. But, you know, I started this program with 17 children who were over age and undercredited, who nobody wanted. And today, remarkably, we have a network of 875 schools around the world, 275,000 students, 10,000 teachers, a bulk of whom communicate without me and are all connected doing amazing things. And it just started with a dream. You know, I have funded this all myself, and I don't say that to impress you. I say that it's inexpensive to do if you're done right. And we're trying to really disrupt what I would say are the traditional monetization associated with education. So, you know, the internet, we're putting everything out there for free, from the TV show to professional development. Our curriculum is K to 12. You know, you'll get a link after that will give you access to millions of dollars of grants. A bulk, sadly, are only available in the United States, but some are national. You know, I'm routinely at the United Nations. The United Nations always sends teams up here. So I encourage anybody who wants to visit to please come visit, to reach out, to learn more, to connect. I'm delighted to Zoom in. But I'm really interested in connecting little guys with other little guys so they grow up to be happy, functional adults, and hopefully, you know, become teachers like us, because the teaching crisis is real. And if we don't model it for other children, where will we be? So that's my big challenge to everyone, is to make, not only bring sexy back, but make teaching and learning far more sexier than it is. And hopefully move more children out of poverty as quickly as possible. I will share, I'm super excited for you to see the movie. A couple of interesting things about the movie, because I do got to go soon, is number one, the movie was filmed 4 to 5 years ago. So I am still in touch with every single child in the film. What you will learn is the school in Indianapolis is now the second highest performing school in the entire state. The boys at the greenhouse, not only is the greenhouse profitable, we wound up building those young men 10 tiny homes, and that produce is being sold across the country, across Appalachia in 11 supermarkets. So all of these boys are making living wage. The stories, the success of these children, there are young people who you're going to see in this film who are attending some of the best colleges in the country right now. So it goes to show you that, I'm a firm believer that teachers change lives. And this is not about me. This is about we. And I want all of you to think about how you can grow something greater. And in a world where we can be anything, and we tell children they can be anything, please be kind. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to your body. Be kind to each other and the planet. And remember, you are what you eat. And in a world that has never been more challenged, the best way to address every single issue that affects our children in the world is to look at what's on the tip of your fork. You want to address climate? Look at what you're eating. You want to address equity? Look at where your food and all your things come from. You want to move away from conspicuous consumption towards philanthropy? This is how you start. So for me, it's all about food. Food justice is racial justice. And I will tell you that, no matter where we sit, and I'm looking at the gentleman from Oxford with the beautiful nuclear power plant behind him, the most important school supply in the world is food. And food, children will never be well read if they're not well fed. This is the first generation that's eating themselves to death, and we have the ability to change all of that, which is super exciting. And I urge all of you to do it, and do it with dignity. Imagine if dignity was the norm for all of our intent and actions. And, that's on us. So without further ado, I want to thank you. I'm sorry I can't be with you after the film, but literally I'm going downstairs to let kids in. Then we've got to get out of here. I've got to deliver all this food this week and get it out into the community. And then I've got to be downtown for a big principals meeting. But thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm not saying goodbye. I'm saying see you soon. Reach out, make Epic happen. Get your kids on the YouTube channel. Anybody who wants to do a TV show with me, let's do it. Let's get your kids involved. And let's make some beautiful music together. See you soon.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
My honor. Thank you. Shukran, shukran.
Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you, Donna. I'll be in touch.
Okay, sounds great.
Enjoy the movie.
I told you his level of energy is infectious. I don't know what else to say.
Yes, of course. Yes, please, Donna, you tell me about your program as well.
Yes. So what Global Lighthouse
How do you
Studio...
connect to these people?
How do I connect to these people? I think part of how I connect to these people is that I lead with my heart. That's just to say, I find other people that enjoy just wrapping their hands around the world and helping others and connecting through these global issues. One of them being, of course, SDG 2, which is zero hunger, but there are so many SDGs, and I just believe in the power of togetherness and working together and partnerships, and just finding other people that are like-minded, that not only want to help where we are today, but also to empower youth to be able to help our people and the planet moving forward. And so Stephen I've been following him since probably 2015. His work is phenomenal, and the things that he's doing is so wonderful. And the fact that now we're going to be able to be partnering and be able to bring in that art and music component by bringing in the David Z Foundation, and of course, Shining Star International in Abu Dhabi, which is wonderful. Yeah, and so if you're interested at all in getting involved in Global Lighthouse Studios, we do work across all curriculum areas, but we focus a great deal on the SDGs in particular because they are global goals. that we all share. And again, we just do that through the lens of music and the arts. And I love connecting with sustainability experts and having people come in, because it's all about, to me, at the end of the day, education. And so, giving opportunities for students to learn more is always just a wonderful way for us to engage with not only each other, but also with students around the world.
Thank you, Donna. Thank you. I know from day one, I am with you, and I've seen you grown, and you have done tremendous program so far. And I think you have touched on plenty of SDGs and plenty of areas, especially like buildings, cities, and space and oceans. And I've been always following you. And I have enjoyed you being in our network. So thank you very much. I have also seen equally grow, the actions done by Daniel through you. And I highly appreciate that too. So thank you very much for giving us this opportunity to listen to you and all. So now I will invite Kimi to present her presentation, and then we will see how it goes with the other presenters. Otherwise, we can take the fling. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I think we'll just take a few minutes to talk about plant-based treaty. We don't have any slides right now or anything, but yeah, thank you so much. And also Stephen for bringing that energy and setting the stage. It was a good transition because we're also really all about the food system. So I'm Kimmy. I'm a scientific advisor for Plant-Based Treaty, and I'm based in Barcelona, Spain right now, but I'm actually from New York State, so just down the road from the Bronx. And I'm moving back to Boston in a couple of months, so planning to go to the New York City SDG Summit in September, so maybe we can meet up there as well. But yeah, so Plant-Based Treaty is a global movement to promote a plant-based food system. So one of our goals is for global leaders to negotiate a so that we can actually stay in alignment with the Paris Agreement. And our other goal is to support communities around the world to implement plant-based transition in cities and in communities, so we can create that transition from the top down and the bottom up. So Mike Constantine from Uganda is going to speak a little bit about his work locally, but I guess I'll just say from the global perspective, the science is clear that animal culture globally is the largest contributor to the violation of Earth's planetary boundaries. We've been talking a lot about climate change, a little bit about biodiversity. Those are definitely two planetary boundaries that are in great risk right now. But there's 4 other planetary boundaries that are at great risk as well. So land use change, water use, biogeochemical flows, so water pollution, and novel entities like plastics. And animal agriculture globally has a huge impact on all of those. So one of our main goals in Plant-Based Treaty is to for lower emitting countries to come together and call upon high emitting countries, high income countries who are contributing the most to animal agriculture with the most demand for animal-based foods to really step up and help make that transition possible as fast as possible. So yeah, I'd like Constantine to give a little bit of background of what he's been doing on the ground. Can you unmute?
Hi, my name is Apollo Constantine. I'm the founder of Ecospace Foundation Uganda, a vegan-based organization that is working to create a fair world for animals, but also to transform the food system in Uganda. For the past month, we have been working in communities to achieve that goal. So we joined a plant-based treaty with different organizations and activists a few months ago here in Uganda to achieve that goal of creating a transformed food system. For the past month, we have been moving to city officials and municipalities to encourage them and inspire them to sign and endorse the plant-based treaty. And I am happy to let you know that one of the districts and cities in Uganda, which is Kyotera, endorsed the plant-based treaty. And right now we are trying to work with Rakai district to also endorse the plant-based treaty. On top of that, we are moving to universities, we are moving to cities, we are moving to local councils, we are moving to schools to encourage them to read through the plant-based treaty and join the food transformation and green revolution. That is what we are doing with different activists in different parts of Uganda. We are trying to come together, synergize, and work as a team to create a positive change in our country. Just like any other countries in the world, Uganda is facing a very huge climate change crisis, and that's why we are joining the plant-based treaty and work with every like-minded individual to create a positive change out there. Thank you so much. That is what we are doing. We are happy to join the plant-based treaty, and we encourage every other person who likes the environment, who likes food transformation, join us and we achieve this goal together. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Camila, would you like to, or anyone who would like to ask any questions or anything? Okay, I have a question, like what will this then plant-based treaty involve? What are the activities you do? I mean, how it is going to help climate change? Or can you expand on a bit? Why or who should
So
engage with
I
you?
think it's a little bit frozen, but can you hear me? For me,
I
maybe
can
my
hear
connection
you, Kimi.
is bad. Can you
Yes.
hear me? Okay. Yeah, so I can talk a little bit about that, and maybe if Constantine has anything else to add, that would be great. So so plant-based treaty is based around 3 core principles. So relinquish, redirect, and restore. So relinquish is about stopping the problem from getting any worse. So stopping the expansion of existing animal agriculture, which is currently contributing, the biggest contributor to deforestation. So stop animal agriculture from getting any bigger, and to redirect is all about redirecting resources and education to promote plant-based food systems for an active transformation from animal-based food systems to plant-based food systems. So that includes transferring subsidies that are currently used to subsidize meat and dairy products to fruit and vegetables, plant-based products that can provide us with the same nutrition, but don't have to go through an animal to give us that nutrition. And in addition, somebody maybe, okay. So in addition, another thing in the redirect principle involves making sure that national dietary guidelines that kind of guide policy around nutrition is science-based, so not getting influence from the meat and dairy lobbies that are trying to sell us these unhealthy products, but actually promoting plant-based food systems that are good for us and good for the planet together at the same time. And then finally, the restore principle is about taking this land. So through the plant-based transition, a lot of land will be freed up. So currently, 83% of global farmland is dedicated to animal agriculture, but it only provides 18% of calories. So by transitioning to plant-based food systems, we can use a lot less land. And it turns out that there's an estimates that a plant-based food system would free up 75% of agricultural land, which is equivalent to the size of the United States, China, European Union, and Australia combined, or about the size of Africa. So throughout the world, there's a lot of excess excess farmland that's used specifically for animals, but a plant-based food system would allow us to reforest and rewild 75% of agricultural land, which would allow for indigenous people to take back the land that's been stolen from them, to reforest and give animal species their space to thrive, which would help biodiversity. And also, of course, reforestation creates carbon sinks. So it all goes together and helps us address these interconnected crises that we're facing. And so that's kind of what our vision is for the plant-based treaty, what a plant-based transition could look like. And to achieve that, we have 5 programs. So one program is collecting endorsements from people signing on to say, yes, we need to negotiate a global plant-based food system and we need to create this transition. So we collect endorsements from individuals like everybody here, including scientists, elected officials, doctors, nutrition experts, and celebrities, athletes, everything like that. And currently, over 151,000 individuals have endorsed the plant-based treaty, including over 1,200 elected officials and politicians. So that's our first program. Our second program is the city program. So cities around the world have endorsed the plant-based treaty, and that's what Constantine was talking about. So we have the city program where cities can endorse the plant-based treaty and call for this national and international change to happen, but also implement changes in their local communities. So promoting plant-based foods, making plant-based foods more accessible to the communities, promoting things like plant-based Fridays, or requiring that city and institutions have plant-based options available at all times. So that's our city program. And then also, so I should say 30 cities around the world have endorsed the plant-based treaty. And we're also in conversations with a few different countries that are beginning to consider endorsing the plant-based treaty as a country as well. And so that's our second program. And our third program is advocacy at global climate talks. So we just went to the SB60, the Bonn Climate Conference, where I met Dr. Renuka. We talked directly with global leaders to try to bring this into the conversation, because although the food system makes up almost about a third of global emissions and is the leading contributor to biodiversity loss, it's not talked about enough. It's not making up 1/3 of the conversation, and especially animal agriculture, which is the leading contributor to all of these problems within the food system, is not addressed and wasn't addressed very much in my experience at the climate conference. So we really want to bring that into the conversation. And then our fourth program is menu change and education. And so we work with schools and universities, businesses, and other institutions to implement menu changes so that plant-based foods become accessible, become affordable, and we normalize plant-based foods, and people can try out new plant-based foods to get inspired to make them at home, as well as educating people about the relationship between animal agriculture and environmental crises. And then finally, our last program the fifth program is capacity building. So growing our movement and growing the number of people that are involved in the activism. So that's like kind of the main overview of all the things, like our vision for the plant-based treaty and all the things we're doing to achieve the plant-based transition. Is there anything that you wanted to add, Constantine?
I think he raised his hand, Donald. So if he wants to add something, please do.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Donald from Kenya. I'm glad to be part of this honorable team. I only wanted to echo on what Kim has mentioned. Apart from the above mentioned, there is the aspect of inculcating the community, the idea of plant-based treaty into the community. The approach here is working with school or institutions, primary institutions, and colleges and the universities. The universities are targeted because they bring the aspect of research and technology. Remember, part of the morning, there was an aspect of technology and tying it up with advocacy. The other component that is part of the plant-based treaty, apart from the advocacy, is strengthening the community structures. Because at the community, that is where we have the abuse of the animals, the ecosystem, the environment, and every other abuse takes place. And therefore, there is the systematic mobilization of the community to understand the veganic agriculture, and also to look at the opportunities on how we can strengthen the uptake of plant-based agriculture. The other activity, apart from the mentioned, is engaging with the health facilities. The reason why we are engaging with health facilities, we have the nutritional component. When we are working about nutritional framework, there is need for the health facilities to address this, especially the facilities that conduct admission, because they have many clients who are being restricted on their dietary processes. For example, those on diabetic management, they are given classification of foods or the nutritional component that they need to adhere to. Having mentioned that, these people are put in a club kind of thing. They form a community unit. So they also help in advocacy to enhance that component of plant-based approach. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And thank you for adding those details, Kimi, I have one question, and it is not just my question, like there's a big debate around the world, and so I wanted to understand. You presented a very good integrated approach, and all different programs which you mentioned are collectively contributing to very well management of the land and so on. And I completely agree with that. But there are other things like, which is something, there are two strands of discussion going on. 1 second, please. If you don't mind.
Hi, everyone. While Dr. Renuka takes that second, I'd just like to thank everybody for your valuable contributions. Thank you very much, Donald. Thank you very much, Kimi. And just a brief reminder to say, please feel free. This is also a network, so please contribute to the conversation. You're very welcome to ask questions. All you have to do is raise your hand. Don't forget to introduce yourself in the chat section. Provide a link to your LinkedIn so that we do get connected. And Dr. Renuka's back, so I'll just hand the floor back to her.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that, Camila, jumping in. So there are two schools of discussion, going on, that do we need animals and do we not need animals? And so certainly you have made a very positive case, but plenty of others think something like that, that if we take out animals totally, then are we going to make a fair decision? So can you tell me something more on that, people who are having livestock and others, what would they feel about this, your program or your activity?
Yeah, so I guess the question has two parts. So one is about whether we need animals, and I would say we 100% need animals in the ecosystem, but we don't need farmed animals. We don't need to have fenced off places where a lot of animals like cows are grazing and no other animals can come in because it endangers our ability to use those animals for food. So the way that we use animals in animal agriculture is not the way that they exist in a full ecosystem where all the animals get to interact with all the plants and the full array of plant species that exist in a natural ecosystem. So that's what I would say about our. We do need animals, but in a full ecosystem. And then the second part is what farmers would say about it, and I think that yeah, we need to be making sure that this transition to a plant-based food system is, of course, a just transition. Obviously, we need to make sure that everybody has food on the table, and also that farmers are being able to transition to plant-based farming. But I think one kind of misconception about the global food system is that something like 90% of all farmland is owned by 1% of quote unquote farmers, people who actually own the land, but then they exploit workers to run that land and use huge machinery and everything like that. So if with a just transition to a plant-based food system, we can focus on keeping those smallholder farmers employed, making sure that everybody has food on the table, but really taking into account this big monoculture and reforesting that land and making sure that yeah, we're being conscientious about who actually is benefiting from this. So it's about the environment. It's also about the social justice, public health, and everything like that. So yeah, I hope that answers the question.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. It is not for me, but for the public knowledge. And so thank you. Thank you very much for explaining that. Yes, Camila, please come on board.
Hi, thank you so much for that, Kimmy. And for me, I like the question that Dr. Renuka just posed and the answer that you gave to it. And I'm going to give you context from my background, right? Because right now, everything that everyone has said, we're seeing the importance of education, especially around climate change, and definitely the themes have grown from the times when we first started ringing the alarm to say we need to change our ways, we need to start acting more climate consciously, right? The themes have changed, they have grown, they have expanded, you know, just as the consequences of lack of responsiveness to climate issues has caused. And we definitely need to ring the alarm. And one thing I can definitely say is we do not have enough climate education, right? And I'm coming to you from the context that I'm a politician, right? So I'm a politician in my nation where I come from, and we're the people that, you know, decide, make on policies. We're the ones that argue for or against them. And I can tell you for sure that the conversation amongst politicians is not, it doesn't reflect how loud the alarm ought to be right now in this time and season, because it looks like the time and season is definitely calling us to be climate conscious and to take action and to start creating sustainable futures. That's what it's calling for. However, the alarm, I can tell you for sure that the conversation amongst politicians, even in my nation, it is nowhere near, the alarm isn't that loud. I can tell you that for sure. The alarm is not that loud. A lot of the themes that I've heard of today and a lot of the amazing work that our participants are doing, I'm only hearing of for the first time today, and I'm only learning of how important it is today. Now, when we look at policymakers and people who cause shifts to change on the ground, you would say that the political fraternity is definitely a part of it, right? And I would say that I am alarmed indeed in a good way to say that climate education and all of this needs to happen and needs to happen today. However, you see, I am also coming from a tribe. We're a particular tribe in Zambia, and we have cattle culture, right? So, you know, we have cattle culture. And Kimmy, your work says that you're also looking around, you're also looking to, Kimmy, your work also has to do with education, and not just education, but it's also educating people on how we can transition from having this, you know, tracts and tracts of farmland. Because I can tell you that for my people in our particular tribe, having cattle and so much of it is such a point of pride, right? It is such a point of pride. And for a politician who is trying to gain ground in that particular locality, in that particular area, I can definitely tell you that the second you bring up a story like this, you've lost every chance of winning your election in that particular area. So this just shows that there's such a huge need for education, and also education of there's such a huge need for education. So I would just like to ask, because I do care about the environment, I do care about the future, but however, this is a conversation that for people like my tribesmen, you would definitely have to ease them into it. It's not something that you can just, hey everybody, we've got a planet to save. Let's let other animals into your cattle fields. That's not a conversation that's going to go down too well, because number one, you're not just attacking it's going to look like an attack on livelihoods. That's one. And on the second aspect of it, it's an attack on identity, because part of our tribe, our culture, who it is that we are, it's because of cattle wealth. So there's that particular intricacy. So I'd just love to know where I can get information on the education on how it is that we can transition from our regular cattle ranching activities, or even just animal production activities, how we can do that, and then also look at what communication models that you have in place what communication models do you have in place such that this can be communicated in a way that it can be digested easily. I hope you understand where I'm coming from, because all I'm seeing is, like, this is it's a good communication challenge, because you'd have to let people understand the importance of why it is that we're taking climate action, whilst also helping them understand and also see the benefits of, completely transitioning from what it is that, is a point, because this is not a head matter, it would be a heart matter. And when you're communicating, the most effective communication, it has to touch the head just as much as it touches the heart. So I'd be interested to know where I can get to learn more. And yes, how do you change minds with regards to this particular topic? So thank you, Kimmy.
Thank you so much for the question. Yeah, I'd love to also for my colleagues to step in as well, but I guess I would just say that I think the important thing is that we have like a global vision, but local solutions. And I think part of what that means is that any changes that happen need to come from within the communities and within the countries where the context makes sense. And yeah, that the solutions and different implementations and transitions, and also the education is super contextualized, that we know what audience we're speaking to. And that's why it's kind of hard to just give, like, you can't even really give a full, like, a global solution. It's just that we have this global vision that we absolutely need to address the climate crisis. We need to address the biodiversity crisis. And so what exactly that looks like in different communities is going to look different. But I would say, like, I would be interested to hear from my colleagues, like I said, but maybe my idea of, like, how to begin the education is to start with, like, trying plant-based foods and plant-based alternatives to common cuisines, and also raising up the cuisines of the culture that are already plant-based. And then also alongside those, like, experiential things, but also kind of making sure that when we talk about it, we understand exactly what's happening within a country. So for example, what amount of the meat that people are eating is coming from their local farmers, and how much of it is like being imported or coming from different parts of the world where the animals have a completely different experience, and how much is the agriculture relying on how much is the animal agriculture relying on animal feed that's being grown in a different part of the world where deforestation is happening. And so I think, yeah, making super localized kind of conversations and education programs. And yeah, like we have some general resources on our website, but I think when it comes to communities where there is a lot of pride in, like, animal farming, and communities where also food security is an issue, it needs to be even more specific. Yeah, but I would love for my colleagues to also step in with their experience.
Just before, I'm not sure which of your colleagues are gonna step in now. I think you've sort of answered my question. I'm going to invite Mohammed. Mohammed, your hand is up. Perhaps you could ask your question before Kimi's colleagues step in. Or Mohammed, would you be okay to let Kimi's colleagues answer first before you step in? What would you prefer, Mohammed?
Hey, let's go with the option 2.
You can kindly.
Yeah, I can sort of let the colleagues come first, and then I can give my 2 cents. So please go ahead.
Oh, okay. Okay, so Kimi, you're free to, thank you, Mohammed. Kimi, you're free to invite your colleagues on so that we can hear their diverse perspectives before Mohammed comes on with his contribution. Thank you.
Perfect. Yeah. So Donald, please. Yeah.
Thank you, Kimi. Thank you, Camila, for the question. It gives an insight to the entire conversation. What I wanted to say is that the conversation around animals or not animals is key. But again, how do we go about the animals? That's the concern. Number 2, when we are talking about this conversation around plant-based treaty, we are focusing on a plant-based treaty menu conversation so that it can go to the global aspect that yes, we need our animals. Of course, we have company animals, we have farming animals, we have different categories of animals. But when we are talking about animals and the ecosystem, what makes the ecosystem beautiful is when we have our animals protected and their welfare taken care of. So it is important that we try to bring this conversation a step further. We now need to move from the community to policy levels, that as we talk about plant-based conversation, then we also talk about animal welfare and how do we save them. For example, we've seen in certain countries where we have civil issues, animals are suffering. And when they're suffering, how do you feel as a human being with feelings? Does it concern any of us that when we have civil issues, our animals get touched? So this conversation, as Camila, you mentioned that the communication should include the head. And as much as it touches the head, then also the issues of the animal should touch the heart, because we have so big appetite for animals than protecting them. The other issue that I wanted to mention is that the conversation is pretty new, and we are in the option of making people understand the essence of animal save and the ecosystem. The other bit that we have to tie up this wheel is how do we unpack the animal save? It's not that we have a big appetite for animal per se, but we also need to give them good care. And when we're giving them good care, it means the ecosystem must be protected. And that is how we bring the climate change into this conversation. You cannot be in a community where there are no forests and you expect to have the attractive animals. And again, how do we protect the species of these animals if we destroy the ecosystem? So it is a whole circuit of protection, welfare, advocacy, education, and championing for the rights of the animal, as much as we also talk about the climate change. Thank you. That is my contribution. Camila, thank you.
Thank you.
Can I please? Okay.
Are you done? Okay, sorry.
Yeah, wonderful. No, Camila, please carry on.
All right. Thank you so much for that contribution. And I've also seen some great contributions in the chat section. Mohammed just contributed to say that he loves to relate himself as a part of a tribal or rural culture, even though he lives in Oxfordshire's countryside, as well as belonging to a village side of Pakistan. And he says that a famous concept on their side of the culture is that if you want to benefit from the animals, give benefit to the animals. So I think it ties in very beautifully with what Donald was saying. So I'd like to invite Mohammed back. Mohammed, please come back with your contribution before we continue with this discussion.
Camilla, thank you very much for the invite, and I'm so blessed and so proud to be part of this community, especially hearing from the Stephen's majestic energy, just blown me away, and also hearing from quite a few valuable comments. I think it's a great learning curve for me. What I would say specifically is that today we're discussing about the ecosystem around the animals or the forest. Let me give you, or let me take this conversation to another level where I feel that we all are affected with this problem, which is the plastic contamination in our food system. Now, the reason I've said that you have to benefit the animals if you would like to get benefit from them is that the feed they're getting this is what they will be giving to us. Any contamination in their feed or in their ecosystem will not only give them stress, but it will be passed on to the humans. So to make sure that I remain within the scope of the problem statement I'm about to get, and I'll be very much happy to open up the discussion for others. Camilla, can you hear me clearly? Okay. Yeah, which is the plastic contamination in our food system occurs primarily through microplastics, which are small plastic particles less than 5 millimeters in size. Now, these particles enter the food chain via various pathways, including the ingestion of microplastics by marine and terrestrial organisms, so which are then consumed by us, the humans. The sources of microplastic include degraded plastic waste, synthetic fibers from clothing, and particles from personal care products, which is another epidemic, that everything is being dumped in the ocean and then turn around, it come back to us. So personal care products, studies have found microplastics in a range of food items, including seafood, honey, salt, and bottled water. The presence of these particles possess potential health risks. Especially, I've come across a video where the scientist was asking this question, is that before 1979, there were less cases of Alzheimer than today. And he was asking the question is that if you ask the research and scientists and GPs, especially in UK, that if a patient of Alzheimer, how much they've consumed in a controlled environment instead of eating healthy and organic, so it opens up this massive gap, is that more contained and controlled food it is giving us a massive problem, which is cancer, psychological, mental health issues these days. So the presence of these particles possess potential health risks, and they then carry harmful chemicals and pathogens. Efforts to mitigate this issue focus on reducing plastic waste, improving waste management system, and further research into the impact of microplastic consumption on human health. So what I would like to hear from our distinguished guests, scholars, and my esteemed members, if they would like to emphasize the importance of getting the plastic out of our system as much as we can without compromising our habits or behaviors which we have developed. Thank you very much.
Mohammed,
Thank you
this
very
is
much.
very interesting question, but I would like to just take a minute to pause our discussion because we had this film at 2, but we are already now at 3. So can we invite the film first and then continue the discussion? Is that okay? Yeah, all right. Thank you. Thank you very much. So Donna, please take the floor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. So the film we're going to be able to see today is going to be, sorry, the film we're going to be watching today is the story of Stephen Ritz and the Green Bronx Machine, and you are going to be just so awe-inspired by his story and the lives that he's touched already, and the lives that he will continue to touch around the world. And so I hope you enjoy this film. It is 90 minutes in length, and so I just wanted to say that up front. I probably will be turning off my video just so that I don't need to be a bobbing head here while we're watching the film. And then I will be sure to, once the film is over, to come back on, and so that we can discuss the film a bit more if anyone had any questions or any comments that they would like to share. So let me go ahead and find the screen. 1 second. Okay. And let me share my screen.